Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. Joining me tonight, it's kind of standing in, but not really standing in, our resident referee, Mark Hogan. How are we, Mark?
How's it going, Chris? Thanks for having me back.
Not a bother at all. My sidekick normally on these shows, the Dazzler, is away in Portugal. He said he might try and jump on and join us if he wasn't busy. Yeah, because he's heading back tomorrow, so I'm sure tonight he's packing and stuff like that. But we've an absolute packed show for you tonight. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the Monday mashup that we bring you each and every Monday, where we're going to be reviewing all the Premier League action from the weekend. And boy, was there some action. We're going to be previewing the midweek Premier League fixtures. We are absolutely spoiled for this festival of football at the moment. And not only that, I think the Champions League starts next week as well, doesn't it? So we are absolutely flat out.
Not that I'd know anything about that, but you know.
Well, the Europa will be there on Thursday as well, won't it?
Good
So
old Thursday nights.
Thursday night's going out for scoops and the pub ain't so bad, you know. We'll also be discussing some hot topics at the moment. We'll be doing a quick review of the Champions League draw, having a look at the groups and stuff like that. Some interesting groups in there the other day. And we'll be talking about some current transfers and stuff like that at the moment. On Thursday, we'll be bringing you Thursday Tier Talk. And we'll be... it'll be a kind of an extended one. We'll be doing kind of 9 to 11 because it's deadline day, as we always do. So what we'll do is the first hour, what we'll do is we'll bring you the Premier League preview for the weekend, and we'll bring you Beat the Bookie. And then the second hour, what we'll do is we'll wind down deadline day as some of the teams try to land.
Is the yellow toy coming back out now, Coach? Yeah.
I'm not sure whether the yellow toy will come back out or not. We will see. I shall discuss that with my sidekick when he arrives back in Ireland tomorrow. But I tell you, it's great to be back in familiar surroundings. It was tough doing them out there in Orlando.
I know, fair play to you.
Especially in the heat.
Kept going.
Yeah, but because of the time difference, I was doing them at 7 in the morning and stuff like that. And also, like, I was sitting like this doing the podcast, and like in one bed there was a kid beside me asleep, and on the other one, you know. So it was kind of mad.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Morris in the comments, how are we, Morris? Good to hear from you. Lovely town there, boss man. I don't know, it's a bit bright here. Like when I move, it gets a little bit better. The lighting here in this studio, as they call it, aka my bedroom, doesn't do it justice at all. Kane Murray's in the comments there. Well, hey, go on, Marco.
Go on the Keno, my Keno.
Good.
He's a Liverpool fan, by the way.
Oh, very good. Is that the chap that worked with you?
No, it's another lad that the north side of, you know, Darndale's finest.
Good to have you on board, Kane. And also Morris is back, and United will be on Thursday too at 8. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Doesn't miss a beat.
So Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. So how's things been with you before we get into the show? All good?
All good, yeah. Obviously, you know, been up to my eyes with work, and myself and Yvonne have gone sale agreed on a house. Brilliant. And we are expecting a new Hogan into the family in January, so that's all happened over the last few weeks. So we've told the family and stuff like that. So yeah, that's hence why I haven't been on this as much. It's just been a crazy few weeks. So getting to the far side of it now.
As you dropped the news to me in Orlando, you said another new subscriber for us.
Exactly. The funny thing about it is Yvonne's due date is the 8th of January, which is Elvis's birthday. So you never know.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's mad.
You can plan it, you know.
Yeah, what you should do is kind of schedule it all around that. That's pretty good. Yeah, you're a man. You're a man for the dates, aren't you? You're a man for the dates.
You know it.
New baby on the way, and on Elvis's birthday.
Now we have it. So it's been all good. So
how could you beat that? And not to dismiss going sale agreed on the house. I know a lot of our viewers might have guys in the UK and stuff like that, but to go sale agreed on a house in this country is like donating a limb. It's unbelievable the process you have to go through now in this country to actually purchase a house.
Yeah, then true at all. Like it's crazy. It's so stressful, and the market is just so bad at the minute. You could actually do a show on it, but no, listen, we're nearly there now. Thank God. So hopefully
brilliant.
Put out 8 weeks or so. Hopefully we'll have the keys to the house. You know,
it's going to be awesome, isn't it? Awesome. Well, from good news. Let's kick off the show. I had to put this up, some bad news. As you know, the other day, poor young girl lost her life the other day. So I wanted to put this up here. Olivia Pratt Cobell. lost her life the other day in tragic circumstances. Very, very sad. I can't imagine what the family are going through.
No.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this time and all her extended friends and relatives. It's absolutely shocking that this would happen. And I just want to say that someone out there knows the story behind this. Someone out there knows what happened. And someone out there knows what was involved. And I would urge those people to come forward if they know, and not to carry the weight of this through their life. This young girl who lost her life in really tragic circumstances, the numbers are there, the website is there, you know how to contact people. This is not a case of being a grass. This is nothing like this. This is a young kid who lost his life. And Mark, it could be my daughter, it could be your daughter, my son, your son, it could be anyone's kid. It's so tragic. And
only 9 years of age.
9 years of age, so needless. We seen Jordan Henderson with it on his shirt there the other day against Bournemouth. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable this day and age that a tragedy like this should happen. So I said I'd just put that up there. If you're out there, I know you probably don't listen to this show, but if you are out there, take a deep, hard look at yourself in the mirror and sort this out. There's a family at the moment here going through hell, and only by sorting this out would bring somewhat closure to it, but it'll never be really closed in their hearts. As I say, as always, I always say in these circumstances, and in any circumstances where a child loses his life, a parent should never bury a kid. It's never the case, and it's so sad. So if you do know anything out there, or you know anyone who knows anything out there, get it sorted. It's so tragic. Right. With that, let's get into the Premier League review.
Yes.
So let's start. 12:30 Saturday. I literally only landed and I came in, and this was the match. Southampton 0, Man United 1. The goal by Bruno Fernandes. Have to say, lovely finish by Bruno.
It was a great finish. Actually,
go on.
I was going to say there now, Rashford run made it for me. His run inside the box, and he took the two defenders away to give Bruno the space at the back post, and it was a tough one to get, but he hit it in the part of the goal that the only part Gav couldn't get to, because I thought Gav had a tremendous game up until that, you know. Probably deserved the clean sheet, so it was a great win.
It was an interesting game, wasn't it? Because it was one that you definitely had to grind out, because Southampton created a load of chances but just couldn't finish their dinner. Shay Adams had chances, Ward-Prowse had chances. There was a number of chances there. And if they had a finisher, or they had someone with a bit more nails in the final third, it could have been a draw or potentially even a win for Southampton. It was a tough game for United.
It was. Southampton were resilient, and I will be honest with you, I thought they should have had a penalty. I know we'll talk about proximity and this, that, and the other, but for me, McTominay's arm goes towards the ball. He turns around and it hits him again on the other side of his arm. To me, I thought we were very, very lucky to get away with not conceding a penalty. But like the one thing I will take from it, see Martinez and Varane together as a partnership rather than two individuals playing beside each other. I think that's great. You know, we always talked about partnerships at the back for Manchester United, the likes of Bruce and Pallister, Vidic and Ferdinand. But it's good to see, hopefully now Varane can stay fit and we can embed that even more.
Well, he's probably going to have to, isn't he? Because, I mean, with Maguire kind of out of favour, and, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit later on. If Maguire feels that that's going to be the case, I wouldn't be surprised if he pushed for a move before Thursday, because he needs to be playing, especially in a World Cup year. He can't be sitting on the bench there. And giving him kind of Carabao Cup and FA Cup games and stuff like that ain't going to be enough to solidify his place for England.
Yeah, he will want to move, but I can't see him getting it before Thursday. If I'm being completely honest with you, he will have to just kind of deal with the minutes that he gets. But because if Martinez, now I've seen a lot of people criticising Martinez, including Graham Souness today, but he's won like 83% of his aerial battles. You know, he might be 5'9", but he's a little terrier. He is, you know.
And he was certainly impressive against us as well, like at the on Monday night as well.
But that's what we've been missing, because it's a partnership there, not two individuals playing beside each other. You know, you need that partnership where you know, say if he goes forward, I'm going to stick here, or if he's going to go out left, I'll tuck in behind him, and in case the player gets around him. So it's that kind of little thing that we need, that we haven't had for a good while. The only thing, like I just mentioned, McTominay. To me, he's been so risky for us, I think, in the last few games. He's just he could have been sent off there in the second game, and that, like I said, to me, we were lucky way to get away with not conceding a penalty. I know we were blessed with the proximity of where it hit off. I think it was Shea Adams' chest and it hit into his arm, but we were very, very blessed to get away with it.
I suppose as well, if you look down through the years at Man United as well, and McTominay comes in for a lot of criticism and stuff like that. But you've always had that kind of midfielder who's played on the edge. I mean, Kane was a guy who played on the edge, always very close to a booking and a sending off, picked up a yellow card nearly in most games.
We've had a lot of players like that, 100%.
Yeah,
Even you look at Rafa, the Silva twins, they always had a booking in them and stuff like that. And you'd be always worried if they weren't taken off that they get sent off.
Yeah, but you need, like, I'm not comparing now Scott McTominay to those kind of guys and stuff like that, but you do need that guy in the middle of the park who's willing to put the boot in when it's needed, who's willing to make that challenge and do those kind of things. It's just sometimes for him, in the past, he's been caught out by it and stuff like that and exposed, and it hasn't helped the team and stuff like that. But I think your comment on the partnership at the back is really, really important, because I think in the past, because United's defence has been so haphazard and leaky and stuff like that, there's constantly been changing there, be it Lindelof or Boy or Maguire, Varane, whoever it is. So no one's really formed that partnership in there. And I think if you get a run of games, if you can give a run of 5, 6, 7, 8 games to the two guys, they have an opportunity to do that,
it's only 2 games in, but it's looking very promising from my point of view of seeing that. Like I said, we haven't had it in a long time.
Yeah, Morris is back. Must be a relief to see Maguire out of the team. Maybe loan to Forest. They're taking everyone.
Yeah, they're going for Loggy.
Forest is unbelievable at the moment. Let's get into the 3 o'clocks then.
They're going for 21.
Yeah, it's something crazier like that. It's just, I don't know. and you know something, when I see them on the field and stuff like that, it's like he's still fielding the same team. But yet they've made all these signings, it's crazy. But hats off to Stevie Cooper and stuff like that. He's real old school and stuff like that, and I like him that way. Let's get into the 3 o'clocks anyway. Brentford won, Everton won. Goals by Gordon on 24 and Niall on 84.
I think Everton were lucky to get away with them, because if Brentford were more clinical in front of goal, it could have been a big win. I think they hit the post about 5 or 6, or they hit the bar as well 5 or 6 times. Just seems to be discontent within the Everton squad. It was a good goal by Gordon, wasn't deflected for once, but obviously he's on his way out as far as we know. Apparently going to Chelsea.
Sounds like Chelsea are going to drop a wedge on them, all right.
Yeah, they just don't look like they've any game plan, and it was they done the zone marking for the corner at the end, and obviously Brentford nicked the goal out of it. Just Lampard's in big trouble, and his former teammate, but who we'll talk about in a little while as well, I feel. But one of those two could be the first managers gone this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And not too far away here with Leicester as well. We'll talk about that as well. Yeah. 2 teams flying high at the moment, and have had great starts to the season. Of course, we love Graham Potter on the show. Yeah. Jesse Marsh, we're not too sure about, because he's kind of American and kind of strange in the way that he does things. But listen, he's getting
if it works, it works.
Absolutely. But Brighton 1, Leeds 0. The goal by Gross on 66. I actually switched out. I had Rafinha in my fantasy team, and I had to get rid of him because Barca doesn't count. So I had to take Rafinha out, and I brought in Trossard, believe it or not.
After what he done against us.
He was very unlucky. He had a couple of good chances really, and he just didn't put them away. But great win for Brighton there against Leeds.
Listen, they've taken 10 points from possible 12. They've got Maupay is meant to be going to Everton. Bassuma's gone. Obviously Cucurella's gone to. Who's that? Cucurella's gone to Chelsea. He's done an amazing job with the team. With the players that he has. The Maupay one, if he does go to Everton, I think it's a strange one. It's a great deal for Everton, all right, but I think it's a strange one for him. 60 million for Gordon is a disgrace.
Yeah, well, I'm a Liverpool fan. Is Kane a Liverpool fan as well?
Kane.
Well, I tell you, 6 million for Gordon is a disgrace, and I'm just putting that out there because I'm a Liverpool fan. But yeah, with Brighton, Graham Potter, we love Graham Potter, but it's kind of weird if you look at his interviews. He's kind of if he wins, it's kind of, we went out and we did our thing, and if he loses, it's kind of, Yeah, we went out and we tried to do our thing. He's just always on that kind of level. He doesn't get too excited and he doesn't get too unexcited. He's a great manager. And he's actually a great tactician as well, actually, when you see the way he lays things out and stuff like that.
Especially where he came from as well. Like, we came, where was he? Over in was it Scandinavia, somewhere like that, in one of the second divisions or something like that, wasn't it? So to come into England and do the job he's done, and like I said, with losing big players for Brighton this season, and they haven't really replaced them properly yet, he's doing very well.
And they're flying high. Let's move on then. Chelsea 2, Leicester 1. Gallagher got sent off in the 28th minute. Absolute craziness.
Stupid
but Sterling, against the run of play down to 10 men, scored 47 and 63 before Barnes got the one for Leicester on 66. It showed a bit of mettle from Chelsea here. Down to 10 men. They could have folded. But
they could have. Look, but they done it before. They did it against Hughes, cause remember that? They went down to 10 men and they had an absolute stormer. It's one of those, though. Leicester haven't been playing great, have they, really? I know the scoreline was 2-1, but Leicester are going to be struggling. I think they should have probably sold Fofana maybe a week or two ago, where they can invest the 70 million without the deal getting to near deadline day and they're panic buying then, that sort of way. So, and obviously they've lost Schmeichel, and Vardy isn't the same player he was 2 or 3 years ago, was he? We all knew that game. He liked to play off the shoulder in between the two defenders, and he's lost a yard, and I just don't see the same player that he was, like I say, a few years ago.
And I think it's going to get worse for Leicester as well, because I think they're going to lose Tielemans before the end of the window. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if Chelsea keep on pumping that money in for Fofana as well, that he goes as well. Apparently he's being kept out of the squad and stuff like that.
He's meant to be in America doing a medical at the moment.
Something like
sent
that
him over to America. So
he's on the way in as well. So they're two really big players for Leicester as well. So that leaves them pretty threadbare. And I wouldn't be surprised. I know we're talking about Frank at Everton, and we're also going to get on to talk about Stevie at Villa as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's Brendan Rodgers, because I just don't see how they're going to cope with what they've lost there. Morrison talking about Leicester. Leicester have a lot to answer to their fans with what's going on there. What is going on, I wonder.
And I wonder, Morris, you've a great point, because the owners have been one of the best owners around the Premier League for many a year, especially what they do in the community around Leicester as well, not just involved in the football community, but the community in general. But it's just an absolute... it's a mess there at the moment, isn't it? Like that Schmeichel move, that came out of nowhere for me. Like, I was like, what the hell? I never expected him to go to Nice. Like, and I think that's been the domino effect. I think his move has started everything off now. And even Maddison, I think Maddison's been linked to Newcastle and stuff like that, hasn't he?
The problem is, absolutely. The problem is, I think you can be sometimes a victim of your own success. I mean, they won the Premier League that time, and then they went on and won an FA Cup. And I think what happens is that raises the expectations. And then the owners have backed him. I mean, he brought in the likes of Patson Daka and stuff like that and all, and it just really hasn't worked out. It hasn't clicked. They had a decent run in Europe, but faltered towards the end, and it caught up on them in the league and stuff like that, where they badly fell away. And the fact of the matter is that Leicester at the moment, they're its current guys, regardless of the players that they're about to lose, haven't got a squad there that can maintain a European and a league position.
They weren't used to playing Thursday, Sunday. It takes its toll.
West
Ham have found that out as well,
It's horrible. Even the travel time, especially around the Europa League and stuff like that, it's absolutely savagery on you, and really, really tough to do. And I think even with Brendan Rodgers as well, I think looking at Brendan Rodgers and listening to him as well, I think he's quite jaded, I would say, by his Leicester experience at this stage. And I think it might be refreshing for someone new to come in with a new set of eyes, but also it might be refreshing for Brendan to go off and go somewhere else as well, because he's been managing in football now for a lot of years now and stuff like that, and maybe he might just need a breakout, similar to Poch or something like that, and maybe come back more.
Guardiola had done a sabbatical, didn't he, as well? So
I think it's been a lot between his time at Celtic as well, and also his time obviously at Liverpool and stuff like that. I think it could be time for him to maybe just have a rest and then come back and see what he thinks. Kane's back in. I've heard a few rumours that supposedly since the owner of the club passed away, the funds have dried up, which is why they've sold players now to try balance the books. That could be the case, but I know. Like with the tragedy that happened there and stuff like that. I'm sure the son probably stepped into the breach there and stuff like that. And again, they have kind of backed them at times,
I know the owners are involved in the travel industry, and I know that's dried up. I was reading about that on Sky Sports, and the money has dried up in that area. So hence the reason that probably aren't pumping the same amount of money they have been in the last few years into it.
Yeah, and I think the problem with them as well is that they can't even when they're playing well, they can't seem to hold on to a lead and stuff like that. So they end up coming out with a draw or a loss or something like that, even when they do take the lead, which is not a good sign for a team either as well. Morris thinks chalk down as a failure for Rodgers. It could be Morris, but I mean, he won an FA Cup with them and stuff like that. And again, it depends on what your expectations is for Leicester as a club. No disrespect to any Leicester fans on the show or something like that. I think Leicester are a fabulous club, and I'd be fond enough of Brendan Rodgers and stuff like that. And I just think with the way they've tried to perform in Europe and stuff like that, and the way they've pushed. I mean, I would have backed Leicester like yourself, Mark, maybe 2 seasons ago to be top 6 and stuff like that, and push on with some of the signings they made and stuff like that. But they flattered to deceive, and even the way that they fell out of the 2 top 4 races that they were heavily in, that must have shattered them as well, to be dropping into the Europa League after being in the top 4 for such long periods of those 2 seasons and stuff like that. So I just think it's one of those things where sometimes it runs its course and it needs change, and that's simply it. Next one, Liverpool 9, Bournemouth 0. Here's a mouthful anyway. Diaz on 3 and 85, Elliott on 6, Trent on 28, Firmino on 31 and 62, Van Dijk on 45, Mayfan with an OG on 46, and Carvalho on 80. I thought the Carvalho goal was a smashing goal.
Because before you get into it, could you imagine triple captain and Salah in this game and he didn't get a goal or an assist?
I did the other thing. I'll tell you what I did, and I'm sick because I did it. I had Jesus as my captain. I made him my captain. I took it off Haaland, and I made Haaland my vice captain. Don't get me started, man.
Morris, are you listening to this? Don't get him on the show on Friday. Do not get him on the show on Friday.
Morris, Liverpool grinded it in the end.
Do you know what? Do you know what though? All joking aside, I've known Mark Travers since he was a young kid at Lucan United. I felt so bad for him. Like, he was fantastic with Bournemouth last season in the Championship. The amount of games he kept him in and clean sheets, and just to see him on Saturday concede 9 goals was just I will say though, I was delighted to see Harvey Elliott score.
Well, there you bring that up, Mark.
I had to. But no, it was great to see Harvey Elliott score. Listen, after all, he was through. We seen him at Blackburn on loan when he was in the Championship. He was brilliant. Obviously to dislocate his ankle, sad from way, I'll tell you. When he was against Leeds, he dislocated his ankle that time. Harvey Elliott, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he had a tough game. I think the week before against Burnley, where they targeted him, didn't they?
Yeah. So
and they were smashing him all around the park. Yeah, and then I think it was Leeds. Yeah, but yeah, it was great to see him back. And look, he's a fantastic little talent there. Like, he's bags of talent, and I love his positivity as well. He's that bit of creativity that we have in midfield. It's no disrespect to Bournemouth as well, and it was 9-0, and I understood. Klopp went over to Scotty at the end and he said, look, it is what it is, stuff like that. And people gone onto the internet and all, they were condescending about, look at Klopp acting the dick kind of thing, stuff like that. And that wasn't really the case. And stuff like that,
knew it wasn't like that,
You know what I mean? And as you said about Tavers as well, he didn't, in his case, he really didn't put a foot wrong. Most of them you just couldn't save.
Van Dijk's header was right in the corner. You're looking at me, he's dived that way. There's no.
Yeah, but if you look at a lot of the goals, it's more about the 4 lads that were in front of him than it was about him, to be honest. And it could have been a lot more. On another day, Salah could have had a hat trick, to be honest. I don't know what's going on with Mo at the moment, but I think if he gets 1, he'll get 5 or 6. He's just one of those lads at the moment. He's just out of form. It just won't come from the one that he missed in the middle of the goal that went over the bar. Was just, I just couldn't believe he had missed it.
He's missing Mane.
Morris back in again. Feel sorry for the 2 Irish keepers so far. Bad defences in front of them. I tell you, Basunu has done really, really well at Southampton. He's getting the plaudits down there.
Listen, again, like Mark, I've known Gav since he was a young lad at Temple Oak. And then he got his move to Rovers, and then his move out to City, and he was on loan with Portsmouth. But he's just an unbelievable shot stopper. He's great with his feet. Now, he wasn't too good with his feet when he was with Temple Oak, But he's improved so much. He's improved his game. And that's what he needed to do. He needed to sign for a Premier League team and get minutes because he is that good. He would have been wasted going back to the Championship or League One on loan, So he made the right decision there. So.
Yeah, and it's a big statement for the kid as well to be on the books at Man City and to turn around and go, listen, I'm going to drop down a bit here and I'm going to get game time and go to Southampton. Exactly. So fair play to him.
Yeah, you don't see many people doing it,
Yeah, and it's a tough task for them down there as well because they're not really prolific and stuff like that. So he's going to have a busy season. He's going to be kept busy in most games that he plays and stuff like that, and that'll only benefit Ireland in the long run, I think. Because I think when goalkeepers go to the better games with the better defenses and stuff like that, you look at Alisson, and I'm not talking about the start we've had this year. It's been pathetic, really, by the Bournemouth game. But if you look at Alisson, generally speaking, it's an easy day for him and stuff like that with that defence in front of him. Generally, touch wood, albeit being tough this season, but generally speaking. So it's good for Basunu to go there and be busy and making good sales.
Yeah, we're blessed. I'm sure your backup keeper, Kelleher, unbelievable as well. So we are blessed with 3 unbelievable keepers. Like I said, I just felt sorry for Mark on Saturday against Hughes. Like I felt sorry for him when he made his debut for Ireland. Remember Mitrovic chipped him and stuff like that. He hadn't got any luck, but he was fantastic for Bournemouth in the Championship last season. He was unbelievable for them.
Yeah, just to round out the 3 o'clocks then. Man City 4, Crystal Palace 2. Palace taking the lead with a Stones OG on 4 minutes and then Anderson on 21. We spoke about the boy Anderson, looks a fabulous talent. But then Bernardo Silva on 53 and then Haaland with a hat-trick, 62, 70 and 81. The absolute power of Haaland on that hat-trick. I don't know if you got to see it.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal to watch. He was just
where his position and he got himself in the he does actually need a long. You're right, Morris. The position of Haaland for the goals inside the 18 yards is just unbelievable. Now listen, they scored 4, but if you're Pep and you're looking at it going, they are conceding goals. They're leaking goals, and particularly they were 2 from 2 set pieces at the weekend. But listen, you're not going to be fully worried if you can outscore a team every week, and especially with Haaland.
Yeah, Kane's back. What's your opinion on Palace's disallowed goal? Never a foul on the keeper, if you ask me. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
No, it was never a foul, but unfortunately, the referees always give the benefit of the doubt to the keepers, don't they?
What have you made?
We see it too often.
Before we went to the evening, the 5:30 game, what have you made of this directive to the referees at the moment to let a bit of physicality back in there again? It's a fine line, really, isn't it? Because it's a difficult one for them to balance in terms of blowing up on certain fouls and stuff like that. But they're really letting lads get stuck in at the moment to the point where it could be a little bit dangerous, isn't it?
It can be. Years ago, the players weren't as fast as they are now, and because of the pace they're going at and the pace the lads are coming in on, there's more of a chance of them breaking an ankle or this, that, and the other. There is, obviously, you still can't tackle from behind. Even if you've won a ball, you went from behind, you're conceding a free kick. But there are times, you've seen it you see the last minutes of the Forest game where Richarlison's doing the keep me ups and your man comes in and just upends him, that sort of way. So
100%.
No, I can see. Listen, fans want to see
that. That should have never been a foul either.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I even enjoyed it more. I even enjoyed it more when Neco Williams then dropped the elbow on him and
on top of him as well.
That just put the cream on top of the cake for me.
The fans love that. You see them all reacting to it. But listen, as fans, you want to see a more physical game. You do. Yeah. You want to see it like it was back in the day. You look at videos from the 90s, and we would have watched it live because the likes of Keno and all mightn't have been around, but. You want to see that, but obviously the laws of the game, you have to protect the players at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was looking at that Amazon Prime documentary there last night, the one on Leeds with Vinnie Jones, talking about physicality. He was talking about when he partnered up in midfield for Leeds with Baddy, and they were talking about how the 2 of them used to be walking out of the tunnel, and they kept on saying to themselves, right, we're going to upend these lads today. And they used to absolutely murder them. And he talked about how bad he was on the same level as him and stuff like that. But it's a great documentary. If anyone hasn't seen it, check it out. Some great football documentaries on Amazon Prime at the moment. Some fantastic ones. I'm working my way through them. Morris is back. The pace of Haaland for a built man is amazing. He's muscling past defenders with his. Yeah, he doesn't waste any energy. If you watch him on the pitch as well, he's strolling around and he's not wasting any energy. And then suddenly when the ball comes alive, he comes alive too, and boom. It's unbelievable. The only thing I'd worry about, and we'll talk about it, Mark, your boy Sam Maximin, is the minute he puts the booster rockets on, the hamstring suddenly comes out of the shorts or something like that, Yeah, I couldn't believe it yesterday, Morris back again. Dermot Gallagher has said that he was attempting the movement before the ball was released, so it was premeditated, therefore a foul.
Yeah,
no comment.
Dermot Gallagher from Ringsend. Yeah, listen, the laws of the game. Dermot just is abiding by the laws of the game. You have to. Absolutely. There's a bit of common sense you have to use as well, though.
Absolutely. The 5:30 then that Morris will be delighted with. Arsenal 2, Fulham 1. Goals from Mitrovic on 56. This guy's on fire. He's bringing his form from the Championship straight into the Premier League.
Absolutely.
Odegaard on 64, who's racking up a few goals. And Magalhaes Gabriel on 85. Good comeback from Arsenal. They would have normally wilted and maybe ground out a draw on this.
It was, and you can see how it says a lot about Fulham. Not a lot of people would have expected them to take points off the likes of yourselves and stuff at the start of the season. I was talking to Rowe and Liam and work there on Saturday, and I'm saying I fancied maybe Fulham to nick a draw against them, but
Marta says, I got champagne in and I was sipping it all night. In fact, I'm celebrating, lads. That's leading into me and Morris had a conversation before the show this evening, and he was talking about Richard Keys' comments. Not that Richard Keys or Andy Gray's comments. But he said that the celebrations were embarrassing. This is from a guy who's never understood what it's like to play elite sport and actually get a win.
He's just trying to stay relevant. That's all it is, Gus. He's just trying to stay relevant.
And especially in the 84th minute, the relief of that is unbelievable. But you look,
against a good Fulham team, in fairness. So
just for Morris in the comments there, Morris, if lads are talking like that about your club, it means you're doing something right. So the more they say that, the better. The more they say that, the better. Let's move into Sunday then. Sunday, Aston Villa 0, West Ham 1. Goals on 74 by Fornells. It was a deflected goal. Stevie really struggled. Well, both guys are really struggling.
They were.
Hammers got the 3 points. But what you make on Stevie at the moment is a struggle, isn't it?
It's a big struggle, and it doesn't get any better because they're playing Morris's Arsenal on Tuesday or on Wednesday, and then they're playing Man City the weekend. Yeah. They could be 6 games in with 3 points or something on the board, or 4 points, whatever they have. It's going to be a big struggle. You heard the bills at the end of the game on Sunday afternoon. The fans before the game, I was thinking in my head, I know it's early doors, but that's a 6-pointer right there because Moyes was under a lot of pressure as well from the West Ham fans.
Yeah.
So they've gotten a really, really valuable 3 points away from home, clean sheet. But a lot of pressure on Gerrard's shoulders. Now, listen, you love him, and Keno and the Hammonds will love him for being a Liverpool legend. But as a manager, it took him 3 seasons to win the championship in Scotland. He's come down here, Rangers have qualified for the Champions League and all since, but he's finding it very, very difficult. The owners, you could say, have backed him slightly with the money they're giving him to bring in some of the players that he's brought in.
Yeah.
But I'm
kind of thinking if he had been still at Rangers, it would have been class for the Champions League draw. Rangers in the group and stuff like that, and all, that would have been kind of cool.
I just think his inexperience managing at top level is creeping in, and it's creeping in fast, and he's going to be under a lot of pressure. Like I said, the next 2 games are big games, which if you're a fan of Arsenal City, you're expecting to be for it.
Yeah, there seems to be, if I think about it with him, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and the problem is, he has such a high expectation of performance because of his own career and stuff like that. And when you dip below that, it's like you're letting him down. And he gets quite vocal about it. Like the situation with Mings and stuff like that and all was a little bit kind of sour, to say the least, and stuff like that. But he has a decent squad of players there. There's a lot of really, really good players there. But I don't know what it is. It's like as if he throws the players at the wall sometimes and stuff like that, and it doesn't sit well with him. You even heard it there the other day in his post-match interview where he was saying, I ultimately have to take responsibility as well. But then out of the side of the mouth is, but the players also have to look at themselves. And I think when it gets like that, that can be a very, very dodgy ground if things don't start to turn around and stuff like that.
But I think didn't Dazzler say before, I don't think he knows his best system to play, does he? or he doesn't have a system in place that he can rely on.
Well, Dazzler knows his best system, and every time he puts it out there, Stevie plays it every
wins.
second week and gets something out of it, you know. Kane's back in the comments again. Stevie G is in big trouble. I just read a stat today that if Gerrard doesn't win in his next 2 games, he'll have the worst Premier League record in history as the manager of Aston Villa. Yeah, no surprise there at all. Aston Villa over the years have been a really, really, really big club and stuff like that. I was amazed by Moyes' his post-match interview as well. The relief of him getting the 7 points was huge. And even though he said, I should look, it was a deflected goal as well. So I don't think he was getting too overly excited about his own situation as well, even though he had gotten 3 points and the relief was there. You could see it in his face. But he did make the point that even with his own team, it took a deflected goal to get the points, and he said he'd take it, you know.
Yeah, big time.
But yeah, they're in trouble. The other 2 o'clock game was the one that I watched, which was really, really good game. Wolves versus Newcastle. Finished 1-1. Neves with the goal on 38 for Wolves to take the lead, and Sam Maximum on 90. This was a real, well, your boy out of your fancy league this week, hamstring, I'd say. But this was a really, really good game. 2 teams going for it. It was end to end. I really, really enjoyed it. But I'll give you a story. What I was doing is I was preparing for the show tonight during that game. And just before Neves scored, I did a slide up. You'll see it later on Neves. And we're talking about, like, they're looking for something like 70 million for him.
Yes.
And I was sitting here going, and Ben was watching the game, and I said to Ben as well, 70 million for Ruben Neves, that's crazy. And the next thing I just heard, what a goal by Ruben Neves. And I was going, oh my God, timing is everything, you know, it was crazy. I literally just put the slide together and I was going, 70 million? Yeah. And then I just had to turn around and go, it's worth every penny of it.
No, listen, mad, you know? It was a great finish, but two unbelievable goals in the game. And I know Wolves had one chopped off, Jimenez, but if I'm being honest, the phase of play shouldn't have gotten to Jimenez scoring. The referee's up with play. He's in a great position to see the foul Neto on, I think it was Ryan Fraser, wasn't it? Pushing the back. The referee shouldn't have even let it get to that. But listen, the last 10 minutes of the game, either team could have won. It was end to end. You know, Newcastle hit the bar with a header and stuff like that as well. So it was a great game. And my boy Sam Maximum scored a great volley and then pulls his hamstring in the 92nd.
Yeah, he sort of shinned it into the far corner, didn't he? It was like Ronnie Whalen against Russia, wasn't it? He caught it right on the shin and it flew into the far corner. But absolutely majestic finish. Morris is back and he already has a worse record than Gary Neville at Valencia. Morris, I'm not taking any of that tonight, right? Valencia, La Liga is a league compared to the Premier League. I'm not accepting that, right? You can't compare Gary Neville at Valencia to Steven Gerrard at Aston Villa trying to do it in the Premier League. I'm just not accepting it. Don't be encouraging these United fans on, Morris. It's not good. It's not good. Let's round out then the 4:30 Nottingham Forest 0, Tottenham 2 goals from Harry Kane on 5 minutes and 81 minutes. Could have had a few more, but Nottingham Forest could have had a few goals in this as well. They created loads of chances and stuff like that. Lloris was kind of busy on the day, but we can't deny Harry Kane. Sure, we can't really.
It was I know it bobbled in the first one, but he knows what he's doing. But you have to give it to the lads off the ball. Sung and Kulusevski are making space for him as well. Now, Sung should have scored. He hasn't scored this season. He looked frustrated coming off as well.
Yeah, not happy at all in the dugout.
No. And then your boy with an absolute peach of a ball outside of the right foot to Harry Kane. All he could do was score, you know.
Yeah, Henderson, what a keeper, Mark. Did you see him celebrating the penalty save?
Yeah,
it was
classic. It was great. Listen, it was a great save.
That kind of stuff. I
don't like his attitude. What he said about us when he left. So obviously we've been linked with Dubravka now, so he looks like he could come in along with an option to buy at the end of the season. So I can't see Henderson coming back, to be honest with you.
I think the interview sealed the fate anyway. And Dubravka, not a bad keeper either. Decent.
No, but listen, even though that interview sealed the fate, it doesn't take away from his qualities of being a top keeper, Henderson. He always has been, you know. He makes himself big. He's a great shot stopper. Absolutely. And listen, like you said, he celebrated like he scored a goal. I would have done the same. So I do it in 5-a-side down the Pier Street, Keno.
I like you, Keno. You speak my language. Highlight of the game was that rat Richardson getting broke up. I said it earlier, Keno. When I seen Neco Williams going in for the Macho Man elbow drop after it and all, it was just quality. Like I just loved it.
It was disrespectful, wasn't it? That went 2-0. There was no need for that.
I'm a huge critic of that guy. I just don't like him. I don't like the way he carries on and stuff like that. I don't like him. I don't think I'd even like him as a teammate, to be honest. But Dazzler hit me up yesterday. Dazzler's a big fan of Richarlison. Gives me awful stick about it. And I had about a 3-minute voicemail on WhatsApp saying, "Did you see our boy today? World class with that outside of the foot to Harry Kane."
It was great ball in fairness, wasn't it?
I can't deny it. Doesn't mean I have to like him. So what all that means for our league table is this. I know it's hard to see, but Arsenal are on top. I'll go full screen for it so we can see it, and then we'll drop back to the
Morris, take a screenshot of this, will you?
Yeah. So Arsenal are on top with City, Tottenham, and Brighton. And down the bottom there, if you look at the bottom, West Ham climb out of the bottom. It's slipping down. Look at that goal difference, -14 after the Liverpool game. Yeah. Everton in the bottom with 2, Wolves in the bottom with 2, and Leicester rock bottom with 1. Definitely fear for Brendan Rodgers. But certainly the top 6 or the top 10 is starting to take shape. Yeah. You can see there, and there'll be a little bit more movement and stuff like that. And all you can see, I think Liverpool, we're playing Newcastle on Wednesday, so if we beat them, we would jump above them, and then you're going to start seeing that top 6 taking shape.
And it will change. It's not going to be like an ordinary year. It's going to be like I said, I love watching the Championship. It's going to be like that because you're playing 2 games a week up until the World Cup in November. So that league is going to change drastically by the week.
Yeah,
and it's going to be exciting because we haven't seen that before in the Premier League year.
Yeah, Morris, Richarlison is a perfect fit for Tottenham.
There's no denying it, Morris. There's no denying it.
All guts and no ambition. That's how I'm summing it up. Right, let's get into
title for a Netflix documentary.
That's it. I tell you, can you imagine him on a Netflix documentary? Jeez, he'd be taken down, you know. Let's quickly preview the midweek games anyway. We start off, there's 4 games on Tuesday evening, tomorrow evening. Just get that slide down out of the way, first of all, so we can sort of see each other a little bit better. There you go. So we'll start off with the 4. We've got Palace versus Brentford. Certainly a big game for both managers.
Yeah.
Could do with the points. Intriguing one, Fulham versus Brighton. This could be an interesting one. Again, not an easy place to go, and probably a decent test for Potter.
I can see that being a score draw. I think it's going to be two really tough teams to play against each other. It's like Palace Brentford, the London derby. I think that will end in a draw as well. Fulham Brighton I have down here as a draw. I think it's going to be a tight game. But I can't separate them. I really can't separate them.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. All right, Daz in the comments. All right, Daz, big up Daz Reynolds, my Liverpool man in the comments. Big up, Niall. How are you doing today? I'm doing really good, Daz. I'm only back from Florida since Saturday morning, so I'm trying to settle in. But it's good to be home in sort of more comfortable surroundings, let's say, for doing podcasts and stuff like that. I was kind of flying by the tail really over in Orlando trying to do these and stuff like that. Definitely should be hopefully a win on Wednesday, Daz. I think it's going to be tough. The boys are after bringing in Alexander Isaac, and also I presume Bruno Gomes will be back. So it's going to be a tough task. It won't be anything like Bournemouth, and I hope it was a good win. It was a great win against Bournemouth, the 9-0 and stuff like that. But I don't think we should get too gassed about it looking at the previous 3 performances. I hope that we push on from that performance with a bit of confidence and not revert to type so far. But we shall see. It should be an interesting one. Don't forget that I'll be doing a Newcastle preview tomorrow evening. So we'll have all the rundown on that and all the thoughts on who we should start and stuff like that. So it should be interesting. Yeah, Chelsea, Southampton versus Chelsea, is it?
Southampton versus Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah, is it next?
Again, it's one of those you'd expect Chelsea to win, wouldn't you? Southampton, they did look resilient, like I said, on the weekend against us. Listen, they're still missing 1 or 2 players for me. The governor, as you call him, he needs to maybe bring in 1 or 2 more players. They're missing that impact that Broja had up top for them last season. I feel so. I think they need to bring someone in before Thursday.
Yeah, with Southampton, it's like you can't fault him for work rate. He demands that work rate there, the governor. But I think the problem for him really is where the goals come from. Whereas you look at Chelsea, generally that Chelsea are going to create chances, and if they do create chances, someone's going to get on the end of something and put it in the back of the net.
You can have work rate, but you still need that bit of quality as well at the end of it,
Yeah, you have to
and that quality will win you games.
Leeds versus Everton.
Yeah, it's I'm going for a Leeds win. The way Everton have been playing is just like I said. There's no game plan with them. They don't have the players there. It wouldn't surprise me if Ross Barkley went back there. If I'm being honest with you, but I think Leeds will win. You know, Ellen Road will be bouncing the midweek game under the lights. And you know, they've been playing some good stuff. I know they were beaten by Brighton the weekend, but obviously the week before that they bet Chelsea and did that win against Wolves 2-1 in Ellen Road there a few weeks ago as well. So I think Leeds will get the win.
Yeah, I think the only thing, obviously Rodrigo was on fire at the moment. He's banging in the goals and stuff like that. But I think did Bamford get injured again or something like that? Did I hear?
I didn't see that, but they missed his goals and his movement last season. I know that for sure.
I think he might have got injured again. I don't know whether he's out of this game or not, but I heard he had picked up a knock or an injury or something like that. So he will be like their kind of talisman in terms of the guy that they look to him and kind of ailing. As being the real Leeds boys, if you know what I mean, and then everything else sort of evolves around that and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it could be a tough trip for Everton going to Ellen Road against Leeds. They're kind of boy out, and they won't be disappointed by the result against Brighton, because losing a tight game 1-0 to Brighton is not the worst thing in the world, really. You know what I mean? Imagine we're still in the game with opportunities and stuff like that. Then we go into Wednesday, Bournemouth versus Wolves. This is a big opportunity for Wolves to put 3 points on the board, isn't it, and really get their season going.
And I think they will. I think when you watch, like you've seen the game on Sunday there, they when Neto was going forward, you know, you look at the likes of Jimenez look confident again. I think that draw, the way they played in the first half against Newcastle. In fairness, Newcastle probably were a bit huffing and puffing a bit in the first half. Eddie Howe got them in at half time and kicked them up the arse, but I think Wolves will come away with 3 points away from home.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then we go on to Arsenal versus Villa. This could be a tough task for Stevie. Heading down to the Emirates and stuff like that. I would expect Arsenal to pick up the win and keep their good league form going.
I think they will. I can't see there being an upset here, to be honest with you. And like I said, they have City the weekend then, and you're looking at it going 6 games in with 3 points. He's under a hell of a lot of pressure.
Under a lot of pressure at the moment, and especially if you don't have the guys all pulling in the one direction with you, it's a really, really difficult task for Stevie. But again, this is kind of one of those fixtures that could come out of the blue and upset the run and stuff like that. You could get a night where Buendia and Coutinho and Watkins and Ings, they just kind of click and stuff like that.
It could do, and if he took even a point off Arsenal and say got beaten by City, it would give him an extra few weeks in the job. You know, that sort of way. But I can't see there being any kind of upset.
You know yourself. Right when you're at the edge, is sometimes when you can pull it back and stuff like that. You can grind it in and stuff like that. But I would expect an Arsenal win. I think Arsenal,
the momentum's with Arsenal, 100%.
Yeah. Plus, if you look at the Emirates there the other day, and Morris will probably comment on it as well. But the Emirates at the moment is absolutely rocking from an atmosphere and stuff like that. You know?
When you think about it, last October, people were talking about Arteta going. The job that man has done has been unbelievable. It's been
phenomenal.
He's a
miracle. I don't know if you caught the. Did you catch the documentary at all on Amazon?
I haven't. I'm actually off this week. I'm off work. I'm sorting a few things out. The girls are starting school, so I'm going to sit down and watch it.
It's really good. In terms of it shows what came through on it. Really was how much he really cares for Arsenal Football Club and how much he really wants to win. And even last year, the reason they fell off, really, they lost Tierney that time and they lost Partey right at those pivotal times and stuff like that. But doing a fantastic job this year. Hats off to him. He's got some players in, and I think they might land another 1 or 2 before Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised.
And Zinchenko will be back from injury, I think, on the weekend. I don't know if he'll play tomorrow, will he? Or Wednesday, sorry.
No, I don't think so. Probably more the weekend. I'm not sure on Thomas Partey. I think he's injured as well, isn't he? But I don't know how long it's a knock anyway. I think so. We shall see. But look, they gave away a Mitrovic goal the other day, but they showed their stay by coming back and winning 2-1. So expecting to beat Villa. Man City versus Nottingham Forest. This will be a grind for Stevie and the boys, wouldn't it? Up at the Etihad.
I think it'd be a case of trying to limit City to as many goals as they can score. Now, listen, Pep could turn around and change the starting 11 completely, or he could make 4 or 5 changes. You wouldn't know, but whatever changes he makes will be strong enough to beat Forest.
Yeah, Darren has mentioned this before, that maybe Pep might take the opportunity in these games to rest Haaland maybe and play Julian Alvarez. But I don't know. I think Haaland would have none of that at the moment. The boys in mad form. But I suppose with the Champions League kicking in as well, he might be conscious of that as well and stuff like that.
Maybe. I think it's possibly we're 4 or 5 games in. I think it might be a bit too early to be thinking like that. If it was possibly the end of October or something, you might start thinking about that. But I think he'll start against Forest, and I think he'll keep his score on up.
I suppose it's just the concern of a Wednesday game, then a weekend game, and then another Tuesday or Wednesday game in the Champions League.
Champions League next week,
thick and fast. We'll see. He might change it up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then we have West Ham versus Tottenham, London. This will be an interesting one. This is a big one for David Moyes, I would imagine. He'd be looking to get something out of this, but Conte again, the way Spurs are playing and stuff like that, and West Ham looking so blunt.
No, I think, and do you know what? I think if West Ham hadn't have won against Villa, I think this would have been a different game altogether.
Pep Roulette will be in full swing soon, 100%.
It will be.
He has the bodies to
5 or 6 changes, But I think West Ham will take confidence from that win against Villa, bring it into the game. But I just think Spurs will edge it. I think Spurs will edge it.
Yeah, I think Spurs will edge it too. And then the final game on Wednesday, the top billing on Wednesday, as I see it, Liverpool versus Newcastle, has 4-3.
Is it going to be 4-3?
4-3 written all over it. Bobby Firmino maybe with the winner, who knows? Seems to be back. He seems to be back. Bobby Firmino, 2018, all of a sudden.
Unbelievable the weekend, wasn't he?
This will be a tough game for Liverpool. I think this won't be anything like the Bournemouth game. You have Newcastle there; they're absolutely flying at the moment. They've solid back line, solid midfield, and very, very strong. They have your man Alexander Isak in. I don't know whether he'll throw him in straight away, whether he's bedded in or not. I'm not too sure. He might have to now with Sam Maximin probably out injured.
Now he might do that. He might, but my thinking was he'll start from the bench and bring him on. And if they are goal down, he might give an impact and get the crowd going as well. That sort of way. So, but listen, you look at look at Trippier. In fairness, I thought he was going to hit that free kick in injury time. I know, sure.
He should have.
It was written for him to take that from. In my opinion,
I have him in my fantasy. I was sure he was nailed on taking. Yeah. But in fairness to Shar scored a few goals this season. So
he has. But he climax. I think Hughes will have enough in there to beat Newcastle. But it will be a very, very close game, I think.
Yep. And then we go on to Thursday then. Thursday is Leicester versus Man United. United heading up to the King Power.
The King Power. It is. It's one of those calls where I'm like, right, we've beaten ourselves. We've beaten Southampton. Leicester aren't on a good run at all. Watch, they'll turn around and beat us now. That sort of way. Like, our record is all right, the King Power. But, realistically, that's just, they were doubting me mind. But realistically, the way we've been playing some really good football. You've seen we looked rejuvenated against Hughes. I think that was the best game I've seen Marcus Rashford playing about 18 months against Hughes. His confidence is slowly coming back. And even Sancho has been looking, I know he hadn't had the greatest of seasons last season, but he's looking like that player. No, he's not the player that we seen him be at Dortmund, but he's getting there, that sort of way. So I'm hoping we'll win. I think we will win, and maybe put more pressure on Brendan Rodgers as well, because obviously Fofana won't be there. He's in America having his fitness test over there, and I just feel with everything that's going on with Leicester, I think we'll make a win here.
Yeah, United's first back-to-back win since February of this year. I wonder how long it's been since you have won 3 on the bench, on the bounce, I'd imagine. Yeah, you're right, Kane. Yeah, and look, it's not an easy place to go to King Power with the crowd there and stuff like that. But I just think at the moment, the squad seems to be in turmoil at the moment with people wanting to leave and go and stuff like that. Rodgers is under pressure, bottom of the table with a point. I think it is in the first 3 or 4 games or whatever it is, and I just think there's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of upheaval. And I don't know, when that kind of thing is going on there, it's very hard to set up a team against, especially against the likes of United at the moment, who are starting to find a little bit of a rhythm, even though they look more disjointed against Southampton. And I had mentioned that from the Liverpool game, where you'll be up for the Liverpool game. It's a big game. It's a top four game. It's the rivalry and the history and stuff like that. To get up for that, it's whether you're able to get up them for the Southamptons of this world and stuff like that.
And Ten Hag mentioned that in his interview after with Sky Sports, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's what we need to be doing.
Well, that's what he said after the Liverpool game. He said it's not a case of being up for just the Liverpool games and the City games, stuff like that. You have to be going with the right attitude for every game. But we've seen in the past that sometimes from a mentality point of view, United just lack that at times going into games. But it would take a massive downturn, I think, for Leicester to get out of this game. I just think it's going to be a real struggle for them. So that rounds out our midweek. So we're going to head on now. Kane. Bounce, autocorrect.
Only Kane.
No, I'll cover for you, Kane. You're Liverpool, man. It's all good. Don't worry, it's all
and
good.
And he's a Shells fan as well. So.
Yeah, now you don't have a card in this game anyway, but we'll ask you your opinion on it anyway, because this is the Champions League draw, as you see there. I was actually, when this draw was going on, I had a T-shirt stuck to me from the humidity, and I was standing in a queue to want a Spider-Man ride in Universal Studios as this draw was going on. And to be honest with you, I was more concerned about the Champions League draw than I was about going on the rides, because my stomach wouldn't be great when I go on some of these simulators and stuff like that. So
I hope that's the only time you were sweating getting a ride over there, yeah?
Yeah, not the only time, but that day anyway, during this time, yeah. So we start off Group A. We'll just touch really on some of the more significant ones. We won't go through the whole thing, obviously, Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli, and Rangers. Very, very interesting group.
It's a tasty group, isn't it?
Yeah. I was listening to people on the internet today talking about how they thought Rangers might go through, which is interesting. But certainly. And the talk of Ronaldo being linked to Napoli at the moment. Ajax is probably the unknown quantity, isn't it, with the players that they've lost?
Yeah, but you look at some of the young lads they brought up from the youth system. We've seen them doing it time and time again. They bring up these young lads that are dangerous, that people don't know about, and all of a sudden they make them a name for themselves.
And never an easy place to go.
Yeah, and in fairness, Ibrox Champions League night, I've witnessed it myself as a United fan. The place does be hopping, like Celtic Park does be as well. So they're always tough places to go to. But listen, Liverpool will top the group, I reckon, and then it's a toss-up between the other three for the second place.
Yeah, hopefully we just need to get our rhythm going and start off well straight away, Not too pushed on Group B. We leave it for the moment. Group C is an interesting one. Bayern, Barcelona, Inter, and Victoria Pilsen. That's a very interesting group now there.
Did you see the owner or the sporting director of Victoria Pilsen when the draw took place? He just laughed. That's all he can do is just laugh. But
listen, he's probably licking his lips as well. Look at those fixtures he's getting. His TV money is going to be massive off there and stuff like that.
And Lewandowski going back to Bayern. That's
absolutely. And I don't know. Did you see him at the weekend for Barcelona? Yeah, he is on fire. That second goal he scored, the flick through the guys with the nutmegs. Wow. Yeah. Wow, absolutely on fire. I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona go all the way this year, because they're just dying to absolutely rubbing into the world of football, aren't they?
It's an interesting group. It is. But even Inter, they're going through a bit of a time now. They're kind of going to be an unknown quantity again. So it is. It's going to be a tough group. Just looking there, it's just between Bayern and Barca for the top spot, isn't it? You have to see Inter going into the Europa League, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Which again is should be interesting for yourselves then at that stage, Group D, where Tottenham are, Eintracht, who played really, really well this year, and ended up beating Rangers as far as I know, and then they went on to. They're in this group against Tottenham, Sporting, and Marseille. That's again another tough group for Tottenham.
It is.
Marseille doing some good business now. Sporting, we know how good they can be.
Eintracht, especially over there.
How good they were last season in Europe and stuff like that. So.
Sporting are tough over there. They remind me of a Besiktas or Galatasaray. They're always tough at home, but they don't travel well, that sort of way. Marseille, Tottenham and Marseille, I'd reckon, come out of that group.
Yeah, should be interesting anyway. Interesting to see Marseille there as well as the bottom seeds in it as well. You know what I mean? Considering their history and stuff like that, and they have some decent players there now as well.
Big time.
Group E, AC Milan, Chelsea, Salzburg, and Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah.
This will be just Chelsea, AC Milan, Monterrey.
It will be, yeah. It'd be nice to
Salzburg.
see me and Keano's our mate Noah Okafor playing against Milan and Chelsea and all. But no, you'd have to have Milan and Chelsea. Yeah. Zagreb can be a difficult place to go to, but you'd expect, those two will go through.
Yeah, I mean, Salzburg, they may have a kind of a hand in it. Depends on the business that Chelsea does over the next few days and iron out some of the stuff that's going on there. But once they get into their pomp, you would think they'd be strong enough themselves. And AC Milan, we know how strong they've been.
Yeah.
They're back on top form at the moment. In Italy,
especially after winning the league and stuff like that, yeah.
Absolutely, and stuff like that. Real Madrid, Leipzig, Shakhtar and Celtic. I don't know, Real Madrid and Leipzig, I would be thinking here, would you? I'm not sure whether Celtic.
Yeah. Again, like I said, the atmosphere up there, but that won't get you over the line in games. You need quality. You see, I know they won 9-0 there yesterday against Dundee United, but you still need that quality against the likes of Madrid and even Shakhtar. Going to Shakhtar on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, so it's going to be difficult,
Oh well, we're joined by trouble here. Here's Richard.
Morris.
Here's Richard Case. How are you, Morris? Good to see you.
Good chaps. How you doing?
I spotted you down there in the bottom left corner, so I said I'd bring you in. We're just talking about the Champions League draw here, Morris, and just our initial thoughts on it and stuff like that. It's very hard, really, until you start seeing some of the fixtures, what we're thinking. We're as far as Group E, F, G, Man City, Sevilla, Dortmund and Copenhagen. Tasty little group there as well. You'd expect City to coast through and then one between Sevilla and Dortmund, really.
Yeah, Copenhagen probably be the whipping boys in that group.
Yeah, I'd expect probably Dortmund as well. Yeah, Haaland back at Dortmund, which means so many of these things are happening because we're thinking as well, like if Ronaldo goes to Napoli, he'd be up against Liverpool as well. It'd be an interesting dynamic there as well. And then another interesting group then that we round out: PSG, Juventus, Benfica, and Maccabi.
Be an interesting group.
Yeah, because Benfica have become strong in the last few seasons and stuff like that. You would expect PSG to go through, and then again with Juventus, they've been moving guys out and bringing guys in and stuff like that. A lot of upheaval there at the moment. It might be an opportunity for Benfica to take advantage of that, but I'd expect the top two probably to be the top two in that group. Yeah, that's it. That's the Champions League draw as such. Not too
still
sure.
Still looking for United and Arsenal there.
Still waiting.
They won't have to worry about it. They'll be there next year. There's no doubt about it.
Arsenal definitely will.
Yeah, absolutely. How's things, Morris?
Great, chaps. How are you doing?
Go on, give us your spin. Come on, tell us what you're on for. Morris wants to have a chat about Richard Keys. Go on.
Oh no, I was just going to say that we should be allowed to celebrate football games these days.
Absolutely.
That's all.
100%.
You see, remember I said to you there in the message earlier, you seen how they celebrated games even on that documentary last season. They were fucking fairly over the top like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't see a problem with it, particularly with the fans that are there,
Yeah.
Well, listen, at least he's won it, Morris. Remember when Klopp celebrated against West Brom when they drew?
2-2.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Plenty of them with Rodgers as well, and his interviews afterwards. I couldn't ask for any more from the lads.
He's great character.
Drama teams and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I think the one thing that's come out of the documentary, Morris, is people were expecting something very different to what they got. And I think what it really showed is how much the players actually cared. That the lows were really, really the lows for them, and the highs really, really were the highs for them. And there was no kind of in between. And a lot of players, I think, came out of the documentary as well, looking really, really well as well. It gave a real good insight in there. And I think between the documentary and between the start you've had to the season and stuff like that, I think people just want to say stuff to kind of derail it a little bit. But like Arsenal are flying, absolutely. You couldn't ask for any more than what's happening anymore. The only thing you could ask for now is maybe another one or two bodies come Thursday. That's really it. And if you get that, you're set. You know what I mean?
Morris, what do you think of the links to Tillemans?
I don't know if he'd improve us that much, to be honest. I think we need another striker because I don't think Eddie and Nketiah will cut the mustard if Jesus gets injured.
Yeah,
as proven with the run in last season.
Yeah, no, but listen, Jesus has been unbelievable. He looks so lively. He's such a talent. Like you said, the only thing that would worry me would be him getting injured, and you've no actual backup there. But I think midfielders are pretty solid. I know Beppe went to Nice, was it?
Yeah, but he's not going to get a look in anyway. I don't think so.
It's. I tell you one thing with Tielemans that I heard the talk today. Apparently, is 16 million would get the deal done, and still
Liverpool not go for that.
Mark, we wanted to pay 50 million for him last summer, and we couldn't get the deal done. This year, it's 16 million. Frankly, the talk about it, and I've spoke about the Liverpool midfield till I'm blue in the face. Tielemans improves our midfield greatly, and at 16 million, it's an absolute snip.
Niall actually said that Granit Xhaka would improve their midfield last week when I was talking to him.
Anyone coming in that has creativity and is around the age of 24 to 25 improves our midfield greatly, and I'm just putting that out there.
And now a few midfielders at Darndale that will play for you.
Well, listen, tell them to give Klopp a ring, will you, and see can he get them in and stuff like that, because it's very, very frustrating. I heard today now that he heard there that the weekend that he had come out and said, I recognise there's a problem with the midfield and we need to sign the midfield. And whoopity-doo, we've been talking about it since June. But apparently now they're coming out and they're going, they've no intentions of signing a midfielder. That's the talk now going around, and that it was all just fan appeasing and stuff like that. No, I think we'll get someone in. Kane's in the comments here. Konrad Lamner from Leipzig is supposedly the man we're bringing in. Not bad at all. Better than that other guy I was listening to, Sander Berg, who has a worse injury record than Naby Keita.
Well, even in the Championship last season, because he wasn't even in the top 5 midfielders for me in the Championship. And these have been. Now you got one of them in Carvalho, which I thought he's brilliant. I watch him loads, but he's not even in the top 5 for me, Sander Berg.
Yeah, but when it comes to the last 3 or 4 days of the window, you know what it's going to be. You're going to be grovelling around and stuff like that, because the chances are, we were linked with Ruben Neves as well, along with yourselves and along with Arsenal. No one is dropping 70 bags for that lad. They're just not going to do it. And you're not going to get that deal done in 3 days, not with the way it pans out and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen. Love to sign him, but 70 million is an absolute stretch, and we ain't going to do that. And at the moment, we need to sign 3 midfielders, not just one. Because if you think about it going into next year, I don't think we're going to drop the 100 million on Jude Bellingham that people think we're going to drop. I just don't see it happening. I'd be surprised.
Well, listen, he could have some World Cup if he gets into the England team, and that could go up even more as well.
Absolutely, and then you're talking about the wages escalating and the net effect of that on the rest of the squad and all that kind of thing. And then you're talking about Jordan Henderson a year on, Naby Keita probably moved on, Ox probably moved on, Curtis Jones are going to have to make a decision on. Jordan Henderson, James Milner, all this kind of thing. Like that midfield there is on the cusp at the moment. And I said it last week on the show when I was away. It's open heart surgery that it needs. It's not like a bit of tweaking and stuff like that. As much as people think, listen, we can just do things and stuff like that. Let's talk about this boy, Anthony Gordon, who seems to be creating a lot of buzz at the moment.
I thought you were going to say another Anthony there.
No, who seems to be. We'll get on to talk about him, even though I didn't have him on the list. But this lad seems to be creating some amount of buzz at the moment. The valuation at the moment is something like 70 million, and the talk is that Chelsea are willing to pony up for it. There's no denying his talent. He's a decent footballer. He's a very good footballer and stuff like that. But
60 million. I seen another one because that they were offering, was it 24 million, Broja and Conor Gallagher. If I was Everton, I would have snapped their hand off to get that.
Yeah. That seemed like a really good deal. If Frank can get bodies in and stuff like that when letting bodies go, especially how thin his squad is, the likes of Gallagher and Broja would be two fantastic.
Especially what Broja done at Southampton.
If Chelsea signed Gordon and Maguire, there'd be no real looking past them for the league title, would there?
Wait for Eno to drop in the comments there now.
Can you imagine? Let's talk about Anthony to Man United. 100 million euros. 100 million euros. And I often say, look, lads, it's not our money.
It's Man United being held at gunpoint again, though, in all seriousness.
It happens all the time, and it happens all the time. If we're linked with a player, the club knows we can add another 20, 30 million on it, and United are going to pay it eventually. And that's what's happening. Now, listen, it doesn't take away from he's a talented young lad, 22, and seeing him in the Champions League, can play on the wing, can play up top. He's won 2 Dutch leagues. He's won a gold medal with Brazil at the Olympics and stuff. So, listen, we know his quality. But the way the transfer market's going now, that's what you're going to be paying because you're Manchester United. There's no doubt about it. If it had been Liverpool, you probably would have gotten 50, 60 million maybe.
Well, see, what we should have done was we should have bought him and sold it on to you and made a 50 million profit. That's what we should have done if we were being clever.
And then you get Tielemans for 16 million.
Yeah, for free. But I suppose the problem as well is, and I read it today, is there money to be paid to another club in a sell-on clause or something like that. And I think Ajax wanted United to cover it basically, and I think that's why.
I think it's either Sao Paulo or Santos. I think it is where he came from. He came through the youth academy over there.
Yeah, and I think Ajax wanted United to cover that cost as well, and that's what bumped it right up and stuff, So.
Well, listen, I'd rather sign him. He's come out and said he's want to play for United. Where you look at De Jong, who said he didn't want to come at all. So I'd rather sign a player that actually wants to come and play for the badge rather than someone that is hesitant, is only leaving because he's owed money and they can't afford to keep him.
Yeah.
Is that De Jong deal off the table now, lads, altogether, or what's going down?
The talk is, he arrived in London today, didn't he? He did,
but isn't he? I think he's been linked with Jews as well, Noel, hasn't he? Now,
yeah, but I think the fact that he flew into London, I think that would lead you to believe United's offices are in London, and Chelsea.
Yeah, they have offices in London, all right. But now, listen, the deal has been going on for so long. I'm just over it now. I'm just like, forget about him.
Yeah.
We have enough players there to cover positions. Yeah. So
I think we would take him in. I think at the 50 or 60 million, the transfer fee wouldn't be the issue. The issue, I think, would be his wages.
What's he on, 400,000 at Barca or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's going to look. He might move for, say, 325 or 350, maybe with add-ons and stuff like that, potentially for performances of that. But we're not. I don't think we're in the races for that.
That's still mad money, isn't it?
It is, but that's what Barcelona did. That's what's. I won't say that's what's killed them off, because clearly it hasn't killed them off.
They're signing everyone.
Keane is saying he's only in London to attend Van de Beek's wedding. That's an interesting one. This not going off getting married right in the middle of that's the real two fingers,
It's not true though, isn't it? Not Sky Sports came out there a couple of hours ago and said that he's not getting married at all. It was just a rumor. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just having a
start. I heard that already. Yeah. Isn't he going out with Dennis Bergkamp's daughter or something like that?
Well,
they have a kid now together.
Yeah, I meant to touch on it with your Mark as well. Isn't it very strange that United are playing Thursday, which is deadline day?
Yeah.
Isn't that really, really weird that they're going to be playing, say, 8 till 10 with an hour to go then on deadline day at a time?
I remember, I think it was Roberto Martinez years ago when he was manager of Wigan. They were playing a Monday night game. I can't remember who it was. And it was deadline day. And in the interview after, he was going mad at the FA for scheduling a match on deadline day. Because the manager does what he up to his eyeballs and all the staff behind the scenes without having to worry about a match on top of getting signings over the line,
And not only for you guys, it's an away game as well at Leicester, so you're not even at home, you know what I mean? So to keep tabs and things. We spoke about this guy already, fabulous talent. This is the slide I was telling you about that I was preparing yesterday, saying there's no way this guy's worth 70 million, and then he rifles that shot in, and I'm there going, okay, timing is everything, but I don't know, 70 million I think is a stretch. Not so much a stretch in this current transfer market, but I think just a stretch.
And he is Premier League proven as well, so you know what you're buying rather than someone coming in from the continent, that sort of way. So, but you look at the Wolves team yesterday. They do have moments, but then there's times where they look like the second half Newcastle could have won by 2 or 3 goals in the end, But we talk about money that's there, the prices bandied around nowadays, and they're going to be paid. That's the thing about it. You look at 80 million for Harry Maguire. You would have laughed if you said United bought a player from Leicester that was with Hull and Sheffield United for 80 million a few years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the way the transfer market's gone on. Plus, the money in the clubs has gone massive with the new TV deal and stuff like that as well.
All the sponsors.
So the market knows that clubs have money and stuff like that. This is the guy I spoke about earlier. Kane will know him as well. Sanderberg. Look, he has a worse injury record than Naby Keita.
There's lads Billing off Bournemouth, you Swift off Reading. There's lads that I would have Bowler off Blackpool. There's lads I'd have way ahead of him. He's not, like I said, he's not even in the top 5 in the championship.
Absolutely.
Likes a red card as well.
He does.
Yeah, when I look at this signing, I think of the Ben Davis signing. That's what I think, that we'd sign him and he'd never play for us, that kind of thing.
He gives away possession a lot as well when you watch him. I'm not a fan. I won't be a big fan.
This is outside of transfers this week, lads. I wanted to bring up this chap here, Brian Brobby, or how you pronounce it, Brobby. Yeah, he was racially abused by Utrecht fans there at the weekend doing these monkey chants and stuff like that. Absolutely shocking this day and age in 2022, or at any stage that this will be going on. But he was asked about it after the game, and he turned around and said, "You know something, I don't care at all." Which is it's a real good attitude from the player and stuff like that to dismiss it and go, "Listen, I don't really give a damn. I'm here. I'm earning truckloads of cash doing what I love doing. These guys are standing in the stand acting the stuff like that." But again, I think that the Dutch league should take action against this. You know what I mean? Talk to the club and some sort something out and stuff like that. It's just not acceptable this day and age and stuff like that.
Because I read he didn't hear it during the game. His brother sent him a video on his phone after the match. But listen, I know he came out and said he doesn't care. But when he went home, he's going to think about that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be going through his head. It's not just a football thing; it's a society thing as well. So it's an absolute joke. Like, it has to change.
Absolutely, but we like to raise these things when they happen and stuff like that, just to bring profile to it and stuff like that, because it's totally out of order and it's wrong, and Utrecht should be sanctioned and their fans should be sanctioned.
Ajax have just won a game. He shouldn't be having to answer questions about racism. It should be. We should get to a time in this day and age where that should be brought up, but unfortunately, it's not going to change with the attitudes of some of the supporters out there.
Absolutely. Well, as I said, always drop a like on the video and always drop a subscribe on the channel. Appreciate that. Also, if you want to check out Morris's channel, GP Productions, some fabulous interviews going on over there at the moment. Morris is also doing our fantasy show here every week, Fantasy Chancer. There'll be a new one going up. I think we're
don't get Niall on
tomorrow.
Don't get me on. I'd like to say, out of our whole group on that league at the moment, I'm only a point behind you, Mark, and me and you are top of our WhatsApp group. I'd like to say, just putting it out there that I came from nowhere to somewhere last week or something like that.
Morris, you can get Keno, who's in the section there in the comment section. Get him on. He triple captain Salah this weekend.
Oh.
Absolute baller, that Brovley kid. Watched him and Talca Park for the Dutch underage side in the European Championships a couple of years ago. He will go all the way to the top. Absolutely. You were linked with him before that whole interchange with Ajax and stuff like that. He looks the part all right. So that Fantasy Chancer will be out tomorrow for the midweeks, Morris. Of course, check out that show. The league details and all are in the thumbnail if anyone wants. I don't know, can they still jump on, Morris, at this stage if they wanted to join and stuff like that?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think there's any restrictions. I don't think your points carry over, as far as I know. I'm not 100% on that, but you can join anyway. There'll be 2 shows out this week. I'll be recording another one late Thursday after the United game for Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be covering it. As I said, on Thursday, for Thursday Tier Talk, we'll be doing the Premier League preview. We'll be doing Beat the Bookie all in the first hour. And then the second hour, we will be devoting it to the transfer deadline day that finishes at 11. We will be discussing all the transfers from the Premier League teams, where they've done the business, where they've fallen down, where they've fallen short, and giving our thoughts and opinions on that. Dazzler will be back for that. You guys are more than welcome to join us on any stage as well. We appreciate all you guys in the chat. Thanks for joining us tonight, especially Kano, who's new on, I think. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you on and stuff like that.
How are you, Emily?
Daz Reynolds, no doubt I'll be talking to you tomorrow night when we do the Newcastle preview. And again, I just want to highlight this once more. Morris, we did it at the start of the show. This young girl who lost her life there last week in Liverpool, absolutely shocking. Olivia, so young, life taken so short, in such a horrible way. And we know no one probably in relation to this probably follows this show or watches this show, but if you are out there and you do know something, that's the number, that's the website. Take action on it. Don't bear that cross for the rest of your life. It's absolutely shocking. A family torn asunder now, absolutely in shatters after losing their daughter. Us 3 here, we're all parents. We can't imagine what it would be like to have to bury one of our kids. I just can't imagine what the family must be going through and stuff like that. We send all our thoughts, prayers and condolences to the family, the friends and anyone associated with the family and stuff like that. Absolutely shocking. It's terrible at the moment, the knife crime and all this kind of stuff going on there. It needs to be stamped out, and only by people being brave enough to come forward and speak up about it and stuff like that will ever change anything. So again, if you do know anything, please come forward. It's a family at the moment that's absolutely devastated. So there you go. So, lads, that's been another Monday mashup. Appreciate you joining us. Morris, as always, a pleasure. Mark, our resident referee. The Dazzler will be back on Thursday. He'll be way more tan than I am, based on some of the pictures he's been sending me today. He's having a real good time over there in Villamora at the moment. Until next time, thanks to everyone in the chat. If you want to contact the show, it's uppertierpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, we're the Upper Tier on YouTube. You'll find us. We're out there on TikTok. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. You won't find it hard to find us everywhere. No, we're not on Bebo. We got thrown off Bebo.
Only fans.
Oh, hey.
Only football fans. Until next time, lads, an absolute pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers, lads.